Teacher, Ibn Abdul Wahhab. You know, it's just the guy's name who founded this orientation within Islam. That's what we call it, Wahhabis, because they follow this Abdul Wahhab. His view of Islam, which was written around in the 1700s sometime. But in any case, this extreme situation that was still at that time gripping the Arabian Peninsula even more than since today in the oil companies penetrated it and changed the life totally there. This was when it was still very tribal. He wrote this one instance, you know, his life was under threat and sandstorms were going on, and he came to this tent and looking for hospitality, because if he knew he could just get out of the elements and you know, get into some protection situation, he'd be okay. And he describes a scene where he's holding on to the tent peg like this in a kind of a sandstorm, and the people inside the tent are trying to beat him off it so they're not obliged to offer him hospitality. And he's holding on for dear life, and finally they give in, and you know, he knows basically he's safe for 3 days. You know, and it's an incredible scene illustrating the importance of this kind of thing in that kind of an environment. I can't give you a good example from our life, but I suppose you could go into the inner cities of some places dominated by different gangs where you'd want to be under someone's protection, and you might hold on to that person's house. I think he'd probably shoot you though, and wouldn't probably even have any pity on you whatsoever. So these people are much more sophisticated than our people are today. But in any case, yeah, that's a great scene. I've never forgotten it. So if you want to read it, it's a 2-volume book. Actually, the other character I mentioned, T.E. Lawrence, who promoted the Arabs in 7 Pillars of Wisdom and helped the Arabs throw off Ottoman control with British tutelage and so on in the First World War period, and about whom the movie Lawrence of Arabia is made. He grew up reading Charles Doughty. Charles Doughty was his mentor. He read and imbibed and took in Charles Doughty, and he was the one who wrote an introduction to this book and helped Doughty get published later on after he got famous, that is, after Lawrence got famous. Maybe he was republished in a more popular way, but why does he call Travels in Arabia deserta? Because it's not the other Arabia, which was what we said, the southern Arabia. Arabia Felix, happy Arabia. This is deserted Arabia, desert Arabia. Desert Arabia, nomadic Arabia, more further north. So, observance of the obligation of hospitality, also the client relationship. I don't know what we could call the client when you've taken someone in as under your protection, like a servant or some sort of person who you don't owe this normally to has become a client of yours. Also, the trust, when someone has left something with you in trust, that you keep that trust, and so on. These are the obligations of what he was speaking about, and finally, persistence in blood vengeance, which is a very frightening, if important, part of all this. These are some of the things that were admired by the pre-Islamic veteran Arabs that you can see from the poetry and things. And I have a really good story in here, I think, that illustrates this. If I can find it. I was looking for my own version, which is more marked up, but let me see if I can find it. It's the supposed, the War of Bassus. Can anyone help me find that?
What page is that?
That's the page you didn't give out.
Huh?
That's the page you didn't give out.
Yeah, right. Don't tell me that. I don't believe that stuff. Let's see. There was the breaking of the dike. I'll go back to that. Let's just see if we can find the War of Bassus. This war starts, by the way, over a bird's nest. And I've had this problem now. I'm down in the marina, and I've been fighting the people from cutting down bird's nests there. And they're really after me because I feel that they have no right to cut the blue heron nests from the palm trees. What page? Yeah, what was there? I'm on, yeah, 57. I'm right there. Good. Thanks a lot. So this actually starts, and in this story, Actually, it starts before that, then it's 55, I think, 55. In this story, which he says is a 5th century story, or at least was put down around that time. The events occurred in the 5th century. This is taken from, I don't know what it's taken from, there should be a footnote somewhere. Yeah, well, anyways, it's taken from one of the old Arab literature collections. This illustrates, to my mind, just about all of the things I was just talking about that were valued by the pre-Islamic Arabs, Marula. And you'll see all the virtues here in this story laid out. I was talking about birds' nests. I see the value of that. I mean, I am now see that I'm fighting big economic forces in my own small way. I've read some articles about Long Beach Press Telegraph, you know, trying to stop them from cutting down the birds because the boat owners don't like the birds dumping feces on their boats, and they don't want